Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our final inspection before today's auction. Today we have a luxury of two-year home, north-facing executive home with a landscape, gardens, and pool. It's only 9 kilometers to the west of the city and in the excellent condition. It also sits on the 445 square meter land, and the price range will be between 800,000 to 850,000. We are here to sell this property to the highest bidder, and I wish you all the best of luck. Now, before begin, let me explain the rules of auctions. The property is being sold with no conditions, and the highest bidder will be the successful buyer for today. The successful bidder will be required to sign the contract of sale and pay a deposit of 10% on today of the auction. The remaining balance of the purchase price will be due on the settlement day, which will be 30 days from today.
Do I need to register? And what if I decide not to bid?
Yes, you will need to register because it is one of the requirements. If you wish to bid on the property today, that's definitely have to do. The registration involves providing your identification and also the contact detail to us as the real estate agent or the auctioneer. So the signing a bidder registration form, if obviously if you not decide to bid today, it is absolutely fine. But there is no obligation for you to do so. However, we do require all the potential bidder to register in order to help us to manage the auction process more effectively and ensure that all the bidder are genuine. Because obviously you never know whether you really want to bid the property today and all of a sudden you change your mind and you want to bid today. So I highly recommend that everyone should register themselves from the beginning.
Yeah, but I'm just concerned if I register now and you will pester me later with all of the marketing calls.
I really understand your concern because that's the same with my concern to going to the older auction too. However, if you are concerned about it, we also providing with the privacy policy. So I highly encourage you to review on that policy first, which outlines our commitment to protecting your personal information. I can assure that you that we will take your privacy seriously, and we will not pester you with any marketing calls or spam you with the unsolicited message. And the registration process is a requirement of participating in the auction. We only use that contact detail to keep you informed about the auction process and the outcome of the auction today related to this property. But other than that, we won't allowed to disclose any information that you has been providing it to us today.
So how much deposit will I need to pay? And when do I need to pay it by?
As I already mentioned before, the deposit required for this property will be 10% of the purchase price. So for example, the final hammer price today is $1 million. So the deposit required will be 10% of it as 100,000. The deposit is due on the day of the auction as today and will need to be paid by cash, bank check, or electronic fund transfer. And please note that the personal checks are not accepted. Once you have paid the deposit, you will receive a receipt from us as the proof of the payment. The balance of the purchase price will be due on the settlement day, and which is typically only like 30 days after the auction.
Is there a cooling off period?
With the cooling off period, that is more likely with the private treaty. In New South Wales, there is no cooling off period for the property sold at the auction. So, for example, like today, if anyone got bid the property, like with the higher bid, there will no cooling off period will be applied. So, once the auctioneer hammer fall and then the property is sold, the sale is bidding, and there is no opportunity for a buyer to change their mind or withdraw from the purchase. It is very important that like you have to conduct your due diligence prior to the bidding at the auction, such as obtaining the legal advice, building inspection, or reviewing the contract of sale, because obviously like today everything will have a no like extra times and no cooling off period. So even the loan, definitely highly recommend that you already got the pre-approval for your loan before coming to days if you wish to bid on the property today, because it seems like everything will be like the process is very quick, and it might be like you as the buyer doesn't have enough time in order for waiting for the pre-approval of the loan, so it's been causing to the loss of the deposit. So I highly recommend that you guys has seeking all the legal advice and from the mortgage broker advice before coming today.
Can I put my own conditions into the contract?
So generally, the terms and the conditions of the sale are set out in the contract of the sale provided by the vendor solicitor or the conveyancer. They are not negotiable. However, it is possible to include the special condition in the contract, subject to the vendor's approval. If you have any specific conditions you would like to include, we recommend discussing them with the vendor solicitor or the conveyancer prior to this auction today. It is important to note that like any special condition included in the contract must be reasonable and not conflict with any term of the auction or sale. So that is what you can talk like you can put as your own condition, but most likely there will no other condition in the contract, as I haven't heard anything from the solicitor of the vendor today.
I see. So, how do I place a bid?
Placing a bid at the auction is a simple process. To place a bid, you can simply raise your hand or bidding card when the auctioneer calls for bids. The auctioneer will acknowledge you like your bid and announce the current bid amount. Alternatively, if you are uncomfortable with raising your hand or the bidding card, you can instruct one of our team member to place a bid on your behalf. It is very important to note that the bids are legally binding, and once the hammer falls, the highest bidder is obligated to purchase the price. So this is a serious process. Please take it as much as serious as you can.
If the property is passed in, can I buy the property under private treaty conditions?
If the property is passed in at the auction, it means that the highest bid did not meet the vendor reserve price and the property is unsold. In this case, the vendor may choose to negotiate with the interested parties on a private treaty basis, which would allow for the inclusion of the special conditions and negotiation on the purchase price. However, it is important to note that the vendor is under no obligation to negotiate with any parties and may choose to release the property for auction or withdraw it from the sale altogether. If you are interested in purchasing the price on the private treaty basis, in the event that it is passed in, we recommend discussing with this with the vendor agent and or the solicitor prior to the auction. So, are there any more questions about the terms and condition of the sale? No? Alright then, let's get started.